Good morning, students. I welcome you to the class of science, and today we are going to study chapter 4, sorting materials into groups. Students, have you seen many objects around you? Have a look around you. You will find many objects of different color, shape, size, and in fact they are made up of different materials too. Yes, of course. But then what is sorting? Sorting means dividing objects into various categories based on few of its properties. Division. What's the need of division? What's the importance? Is it really important? Yes. It is really important to classify objects, and this classification is necessary because it makes it convenient to locate objects. Means, suppose you are in search of an utensil. Where will you go? You will go to kitchen. Yes, because you know that is the proper place where you can find an utensil. The same way, if you are in school and you want a book to get issued, where will you go? You will go to library and not to ground, because you know you can find books in library only. Second point, it makes it easier to study the properties of objects and observe any pattern in these properties. Means, if we know that a particular member of a particular group exhibits that property, we can assume that other members of that particular group will also exhibit same property. And accordingly, we can observe a pattern in these properties. So students, do you know why this classification is important? Yes. Now let's see what are the objectives of this chapter. First, we will be able to sort things on the basis of common properties like raw material used, state, appearance, texture, solubility in water, transparency, etc. We will be able to understand the importance of classification. Yes, classification is very important. In a very wide spectrum, we can divide objects into two categories. And these two categories are living and non-living. Yes. Further, living things can be classified as animals and plants. And non-living things, their classification we are going to learn in this chapter. Now, very briefly, let's see how can we divide living things. Living things consists of animals and plants. We have seen many animals around us. And also we have seen many plants around us. And all of them exhibit almost similar properties, like that they breathe, they reproduce, they move, and many more. But students, we are not going to emphasize more on living things. In this chapter, we are going to learn classifying non-living things. How can we classify non-living things? For this, let's do an activity. Collect some objects like pen, pencil, eraser, marble, box, chalk, duster, bread, soap, pin, glass, toothbrush, etc. You may collect as many objects as possible. You may also collect other objects which are not listed here by me. Now, tabulate these objects, and in first column you write down the objects which are made up of plastic. And in second column, you can club all those objects which are not made up of plastic. So students, is it clear how can we divide them into groups? Yes. The same way, let's have another activity. For this, again collect different types of objects. We know that these objects are made up of different materials, like some would be made up of paper, some of metal, plastic, glass, rubber, etc. Now again we will tabulate them, and in first column we will write the material by which those objects are made up of, and in second column we will make all the objects which are made up of that particular material, means examples. So first, as an example, I have written plastic, and in front of it I have mentioned few examples made up of plastic like mug, bucket, ball, etc. The same way you can also write materials, paper, metal, glass, rubber in the first column, and in front of it you will list few examples, few objects which are made up of that particular material. Till now you have got an idea how can we differentiate or how can we classify objects based on their properties. Students, suppose we have to make an object. For that also we have to keep few points in our mind. Why? Okay, suppose we have to make a glass. We cannot choose plastic or cloth to make a glass, because paper and cloth, plastic we can use but not paper and cloth. Paper and cloth cannot hold water, but instead we can use plastic and metal, because this plastic and metal can hold water. So if we are not being very careful in choosing a material to make an object, our motto cannot be fulfilled. These points could be the purpose for which the object is to be used, the properties of material. Yes, because those properties are only useful to fulfill what actually we want that material for. Now, how can we classify non-living things, or on what basis we can classify them? Let's see. We can classify on the basis of raw material used, appearance, that is lustrous, non-lustrous, texture, that is hard, soft, transparency, whether object is transparent, translucent or opaque, solubility in water, whether it is soluble in water or insoluble in water, ability to float or sink in water, whether it will float in water or it will sink. Now let's see meaning of these terms. Lustrous. Lustrous means shiny. Materials which have shiny appearance are called lustrous, and rest all are non-lustrous. So the objects which are made up of metals, they are lustrous. They show shiny appearance. That shine is called lustrous. Now, if a particular object made up of metal is new, it's really glittering, it's very shiny, but after some time, it loses its shine. Do you know why? Because this metal, when it gets exposed to environment which has many gases like oxygen, carbon dioxide, hydrogen, nitrogen, even water vapors, they react with them and they form a layer on the surface of that particular object. If we can remove that layer, again we can find the object becomes shiny, lustrous. Now, solubility. Property of dissolving an object in water is called solubility. And soluble is the material which dissolve in water. For example, sugar and salt. They get dissolved in water. Few gases are also there which get dissolved in water. For example, oxygen and carbon dioxide. Due to this property of oxygen and carbon dioxide, aquatic life is possible because they also need oxygen and carbon dioxide for breathing, for respiration purpose. And the materials which don't get dissolved in water, they are called insoluble, right? Hard materials. Materials which cannot be easily compressed, cut, bent or scratched. They are called hard materials. In contrary, materials which cannot be easily compressed, cut, bent or scratched are called soft material. Now let's come to transparency. Transparent objects. Objects through which we can see clearly. For example, window pane. Glass which is used in a window pane is transparent, and that's the reason that we can see very clearly through it. Now, translucent. Objects through which we can see but not clearly. Means a rough image will be appearing in front of us, but it will not be very clear. For example, take a paper, try to see through it. Can you do it? No. Now apply some oil on that paper. Now try to look through it. Yes. Now you can see a rough image, but that image is not clear. Now this paper becomes translucent, through which we can see but not clearly. Now third one is opaque object. Under transparency we have three categories: transparent, translucent and opaque. Opaque are the objects through which we cannot see at all. If we are sitting in this room and we want to know what is happening in adjacent room, can we do it? No. Why? Because of the presence of opaque wall between two rooms. As this wall doesn't allow us to look in that room, to know what is happening over there, that's why it is called opaque. I hope these terms are clear to you all. Apart from these terms, we have some other properties of materials too. Let's include few of them. For example, conductors of heat. Objects which allow heat to pass through them are called conductors of heat. And under this category, we can keep all metals, because metals can conduct heat. That's why they are used for making cooking utensil. If we are making it out of rubber or some other material, we cannot cook food. And all the materials like wood, like plastic, like rubber, they are bad conductors of heat, as they don't allow heat to pass through them. Second property is very similar to the first one, that is conductors of electricity. Objects which allow electric current to pass through them are called conductors of electricity. In our houses, we can find copper wire used for wiring purpose, right? Why? Because metals, again, they can conduct electricity. The metal which can conduct electricity through them very fast is silver, but it's very costly. That's why we use copper wire or copper metal to conduct electricity. All the metals are good conductors of electricity, and in fact our human body is also a good conductor of electricity. and rest all are insulators. They don't conduct electricity. And that's the reason when an electrician works with electricity, he put on slippers made up of rubber. As rubber is not a conductor of electricity, it's an insulator. That's why it doesn't allow electricity to pass through the body of that electrician, and it avoids electric shock. So the objects that allow electric current to pass through them are called conductors of electricity, and which don't allow electricity to pass through them are called insulators or bad conductors of electricity. Now, last but not the least, we have magnetic property. Mostly all the metals, they get attracted towards magnet. That means they show magnetic property. And paper, plastic, cloth, rubber, wood, they don't get attracted towards magnet. That's why they are called non-magnetic. All these properties are there, and we have learned so many properties, different types of material which are used to make objects and their classification too. Students, I hope whatever questions were arising in your mind before this chapter being explained now got cleared. You have got answers of all those questions. Students, if still you have doubt, you can ask me, and I hope you enjoyed this session. Students, all the best. Go through this chapter once again. View this video again and again to get your doubts cleared. Thank you, students.